As we grow older, there's a growing list of things we start to monitor more closely: blood pressure, cholesterol, heart rate, vision, and joint pain. But one thing that too often slips under the radar is cognitive health. And more specifically, the early indicators that something in the brain might not be working as well as it used to. And while most people wait until symptoms like memory loss or confusion become impossible to ignore, there's a quiet, subtle warning sign that many doctors and neurologists are now recognizing as one of the most powerful predictors of future cognitive decline. And it's not something that requires a brain scan or expensive lab work. It's your hand grip, something so basic, so automatic, that we rarely stop to consider how much it reflects the inner condition of our nervous system. But science is becoming increasingly clear on this point. The strength of your grip can tell you a lot more than just whether you can open a jar or hold a shopping bag, because the muscles in your hand, the nerves that control them, and the coordination required to sustain a firm grip are all directly connected to your central nervous system, and particularly to the health of your brain and spinal cord. And in fact, recent studies from medical journals and universities have shown a consistent link between decreasing grip strength and increased risk of developing dementia-related conditions later in life, with some findings suggesting that a weakening grip can be an early marker as much as 10 years before clinical symptoms of cognitive decline become apparent, which means that monitoring your grip isn't just about assessing physical strength. It's about gaining insight into your brain's current condition and possibly even predicting the trajectory of your cognitive health years in advance. And for seniors over 60, this is a game changer because it puts the power of early detection into your own hands, quite literally, allowing you to take proactive steps before memory loss, confusion, or mood changes begin to interfere with your life or independence. And the most fascinating part of this discovery is how simple the test really is. No fancy machines, no appointments required, just your hand a few seconds at a time. And either a grip dynamometer or a practical substitute like squeezing a tennis ball or measuring how long you can hold onto an object with moderate resistance. And while these are not official diagnostic tools, they give an incredibly useful snapshot of your neuromuscular coordination. And when tracked over time, they can alert you or your doctor to early changes that may be worth investigating further. Because when it comes to dementia, early detection is everything. And the earlier you notice changes, the more options you have, whether that's adjusting your lifestyle, improving nutrition, starting cognitive exercises, or simply monitoring your brain health more closely in consultation with your healthcare provider. And beyond being a predictive tool, grip strength also reflects the overall state of your body's aging process, because it is deeply tied to muscle mass, hormonal health, blood flow, and inflammation levels, all of which are major factors not just in dementia, but in general vitality. And what makes the grip test even more compelling is that it's not just a one-time measurement, but something you can track monthly or even weekly, giving you ongoing feedback about whether your efforts to stay healthy are actually working. And because grip strength can be improved with specific exercises and changes to diet and sleep, it becomes not just a passive test, but a doorway into an active prevention strategy. One where you're constantly tuning into the subtle signals your body gives you and responding before small problems become big ones. And this is perhaps the most important lesson of all when it comes to aging well. Learning to pay attention to the quiet indicators, the ones that don't shout, the ones that sneak up slowly, because these are often the areas where we can intervene most effectively, where prevention is still possible, and where resilience can be built instead of just reacting to damage after it's done. And grip strength, as simple as it sounds, is one of those indicators, because behind that squeeze is a network of nerves, muscles, blood vessels, and brain pathways all working together in harmony, or in disharmony if something deeper is beginning to change. And recognizing this makes it clear that the hand grip is not just about physical strength, but a small window into your larger neurological ecosystem, a reflection of your coordination, your endurance, your neuroplasticity, and even your ability to stay independent. which for many seniors is the most critical aspect of healthy aging. Not just living long, but living well, staying sharp, staying mobile, and being able to make your own choices for as long as possible. And that's why understanding this one simple test could be one of the most empowering steps you take for your future health, especially when it's backed by the growing body of research that confirms how interconnected our physical and cognitive systems truly are. And in the parts that follow, we'll dive deeper into how to perform the test, how to interpret results, and what you can start doing immediately if you notice any changes. Because the goal isn't fear, it's awareness. And with awareness comes action. And with action comes the power to protect your brain, your memory, and your independence for years to come. So if we now understand that our hand grip is a sort of early warning system, the next question becomes how to actually test it in a way that's both meaningful and easy to do at home. And thankfully, this is one of the rare health assessments that truly requires minimal equipment and can still offer valuable insights if done thoughtfully. And while the most accurate method involves a grip dynamometer, a device that measures the amount of force your hand can exert in kilograms or pounds, many seniors don't have access to this tool, which is why simple at-home alternatives have become more popular and surprisingly effective, such as using a tennis ball, a soft rubber stress ball, or even just gripping the edge of a heavy object like a frying pan or water bottle and holding it tightly for a certain period of time. Because the key here is consistency, not complexity, and by testing yourself in the same way over time, say once a week or once a month, you could begin to notice trends, not just day-to-day variation. And what's fascinating is that grip strength doesn't just show up in your ability to squeeze. It's also reflected in how quickly you fatigue, how steady your hand feels, whether one hand feels significantly weaker than the other, and how easily you can control the movement of your fingers during the grip. Because all of these microsignals can give clues about your neuromuscular health, which is so deeply intertwined with brain function that changes here could represent far more than just tired hands. They could be the body's way of quietly alerting you that your neural circuits are not firing the way they used to. And while this might sound alarming, it's actually a gift in disguise, because many forms of cognitive decline begin subtly, and without such physical markers, they go unnoticed until they begin to interfere with daily tasks. But a grip test can become your first line of defense, something you do proactively like brushing your teeth or stretching your back. And what makes this even more empowering is the fact that improving grip strength has been shown in studies not only to help maintain cognitive function, but also to improve it, because the act of strengthening your hands and forearms stimulates motor neurons, enhances blood circulation, and engages brain regions responsible for motor control and coordination. And when done regularly, it helps build neural resilience, which is your brain's ability to form new connections and compensate for damage or age-related decline, meaning the test itself can also be part of the solution. And for seniors looking to maintain independence, this is a huge revelation, because it reframes health not as something we passively monitor, but as something we actively nurture. And there are very practical ways to do that, starting with hand-specific exercises such as fingertip squeezes, wrist curls with light weights, grip trainers, or resistance putty, all of which not only improve grip, but also challenge the brain in subtle but important ways. And what many people don't realize is that the coordination involving gripping is a very brain-intensive process, requiring communication between multiple brain regions. And by training these movements, we're essentially exercising the brain through the body, creating a feedback loop of neurological stimulation that can help keep dementia at bay or slow its progression. And this becomes even more powerful when paired with other brain-supportive activities like brisk walking, deep breathing, engaging conversation, and strategic nutrition, because grip strength doesn't exist in isolation. It's one part of a larger system. And when the whole system is supported, the brain thrives. And now imagine pairing your weekly grip test with a journal entry where you log how long you held the object, how hard you squeezed, what hand felt stronger, and whether there was shaking or numbness. Because over weeks or months, this record becomes a personal map of your neural and muscular health, helping you detect patterns that even your doctor might miss during a once-a-year checkup. And this kind of awareness is something most people never consider, but when they do, they start to realize how many subtle clues the body offers each day about the health of the mind. And what's perhaps most hopeful is that it's never too late to begin paying attention. Because whether your grip today is weak, average, or strong, what matters most is what you do next, how you choose to support those muscles and those nerves moving forward. And even in cases where decline has already begun, strengthening the body can offer meaningful improvements in daily quality of life, helping restore coordination, confidence, and even mental sharpness through the intricate connection between physical effort and cognitive response. Because the body and mind are never truly separate, and one always reflects and affects the other in ways modern science is only just beginning to quantify. But what we do know is that a simple grip can speak volumes if you're willing to listen. When we begin to understand that something as seemingly minor as the firmness of our hand grip can be a reflection of what's happening inside our brain, it becomes even more crucial to explore the deeper layers that influence this connection. Layers such as nutrition, circulation, inflammation, and the subtle interactions between our lifestyle choices and the health of our nervous system. Because while grip strength is a visible and measurable physical trait, it is also the result of countless internal processes that either support or undermine your overall neurological integrity. And among the most powerful of these influences is blood flow, particularly the efficiency with which oxygen and nutrients are delivered to your muscles and brain tissue, which means that anything affecting your cardiovascular system, be it high blood pressure, cholesterol, dehydration, or sedentary behavior, can slowly diminish not only your grip, but also your cognitive sharpness. And when circulation is compromised, the hands and fingers are often among the first to show signs of decline, whether it's in the form of cold extremities, numbness, or delayed muscle recovery. And that's because these are areas farthest from the heart, and therefore more vulnerable to the effects of poor vascular health. And since your brain also relies heavily on constant, rich blood supply, any condition that reduces oxygen delivery to the hands can also mirror a reduction in cerebral perfusion, meaning poor grip, is sometimes a reflection of poor brain oxygenation. And over time, this can have serious effects on memory, attention, reaction speed, and executive functioning. But what's especially hopeful is that this also means that improving your circulation can bring benefits to both physical and mental domains. And one of the easiest ways to begin doing that is through nutrition, specifically foods that reduce inflammation and support endothelial function, like dark leafy greens, beets, berries, garlic, and omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish or flaxseed, which have all been shown to enhance blood flow and reduce the risk of stroke and cognitive decline, while also promoting stronger muscle contraction and nerve signaling. And staying well hydrated is equally important because dehydration thickens the blood, reduces nutrient transport, and makes it harder for muscles to perform efficiently, which is why many seniors notice better grip, better balance, and clearer thinking on days when they're drinking enough water. And this brings us to inflammation, the silent saboteur that underlies so many chronic age-related conditions, including both muscle loss and dementia. And when inflammation is high, due to processed foods, sugar, alcohol, inactivity, or unmanaged stress, it creates a kind of background noise in the body that disrupts hormonal signaling, damages nerve cells, and accelerates both physical frailty and mental confusion. But lowering inflammation isn't as mysterious as it sounds, and many seniors have turned their health around just by making small daily changes like switching from refined carbohydrates to whole grains, replacing soda with herbal teas, taking regular short walks, or introducing turmeric, ginger, and magnesium-rich foods into their diet. And when these habits are sustained over time, the result can be dramatic, not only in terms of grip strength, but in how alert, emotionally stable, and confident you feel each day, because there's a strong psychological component here as well. and this is often overlooked. When your hand grip improves, your brain registers it as a win, as a sign of control and capability, and that reinforces a positive feedback loop that encourages further movement, better posture, and even greater social engagement, which itself is another powerful protector of cognitive health. And this illustrates just how interconnected our systems really are, how one simple effort, like working on your grip, sets off a cascade of biological and emotional benefits that stretch far beyond the hand and wrist, reaching into our heart health, our gut health, our brain chemistry, and even the way we sleep at night, because improved grip often coincides with less joint stiffness, better insulin sensitivity, and greater core strength, all of which contribute to deeper rest and faster recovery. And this is how aging well really works. Not with magic pills or extreme regimens, but with mindful attention to small indicators and consistent daily practices that support the whole body. And among those practices, fewer is overlooked yet revealing as the hand grip, which is not just a number or a sensation, but a living snapshot of your total health ecosystem in real time. And when you use it as a daily or weekly check-in, it becomes your ally in detecting decline before it starts and reinforcing resilience before it slips away. And just as your grip is strengthened by movement, it is also strengthened by touch, by tactile interaction with textured objects, cold and warm surfaces, natural materials like wood, stone, and fabric, all of which stimulate sensory neurons and keep the brain's somatosensory cortex engaged, which is critical because this part of the brain maps your physical environment and helps coordinate complex motions like balance, reaching, or walking, meaning that something as simple as gardening, knitting, chopping vegetables, or shaping clay not only builds grip, but also refreshes brain circuits involved in spatial awareness, planning, and timing. And so the next time you reach for a handrail or grasp a doorknob, take that moment as a reminder that your body is talking to you, that every motion is data, and that with the right attention and response, you can steer your health towards strength, clarity, and peace of mind, no matter what age you are. And now that we've followed this thread from a simple grip to the deeply layered systems of the human body and mind, it becomes increasingly clear that the real power of this test is not just in what it measures, but in what it awakens inside us. The understanding that our health is not static, not some distant, uncontrollable force, but something we can touch and shape each day with our awareness, our choices, and our willingness to listen to the quiet language of our body before it starts, shouting through pain, decline, or confusion. Because the truth is, we all want to feel in control as we age. We want to hold on to our independence, our memories, our ability to care for ourselves and others. And sometimes we think this depends on medications or specialist visits or elaborate treatments, when in reality, so much of that control is rooted in how we nurture the little things, how we move our hands, how we stretch our fingers, how we stay curious about what's changing inside of us. And there's real strength in choosing to engage with your health from this place of curiosity rather than fear, because that's where momentum begins, not from panic, but from consistent, gentle action. And as you strengthen your grip, you're also strengthening your relationship with your body, reestablishing trust in its signals, and creating a sense of partnership with yourself that so many people lose in later life. And it doesn't take grand gestures to do this. It's in the way you decide to. Practice squeezing a towel while waiting for the kettle to boil, or keep a small resistance ball by your favorite chair. Or make a habit of doing light finger stretches after reading the morning paper. And it's in your decision to share what you've learned here with a friend, a spouse, or even a grandchild, because these conversations matter. And sometimes something as small as asking someone else, "Hey, how strong is your grip these days?" can spark a reflection that goes far deeper than physical strength. It can invite someone to think about their energy, their brain fog, their fatigue, and from there, real healing conversations can begin, ones that move us out of silence and in a shared effort. And what's so vital to remember is that age is not the enemy. Neglect is because every part of you is still capable of adaptation, of recovery, of building new neural connections and stronger muscles. No matter your diagnosis or the year on your birth certificate, and science continues to prove this, showing that seniors who remain physically engaged, especially with their hands, tend to have slower rates of cognitive decline, fewer hospitalizations, better balance, and higher reported life satisfaction. And all of this comes back to grip strength, not as a symbol of brute force, but as a reflection of inner vitality, of ongoing connection between the body and the brain, and the will to stay engaged in life rather than retreating from it. And as you walk through your day today, perhaps take just a moment to notice how often your hands serve you. From picking up a fork to turning a doorknob, from writing a note to steadying yourself when standing up, and ask yourself, are these motions strong and confident, or are they hesitant and shaky? And if you find that they're not what they used to be, don't see that as failure. See it as feedback, and feedback is just the start of transformation. And that's where we at Healthful Living 60 Plus come in, because this channel is here to remind you that growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means growing wiser, more attentive, and more empowered to act with intention and clarity. And through small, consistent efforts like testing and improving your grip strength, you're laying the foundation for stronger memory, sharper reflexes, and greater confidence in every part of your daily life. And so, as we wrap up today's exploration into this surprising test, we hope you feel not just informed, but inspired, ready to put this simple but powerful tool to use and to pass it on to others who might benefit. Because you never know when your story, your example, your strength might be the encouragement someone else needs to start paying attention to their own body, their own hands, and the incredible intelligence housed within them. And from all of us here at Healthful Living 60 Plus, we want to thank you for being part of this growing community of seniors and caregivers who believe that aging can be an empowered, vibrant, and joyful experience when we support each other with the right knowledge, the right mindset, and the courage to act one small step or one strong grip at a time.